Hey, so I decided to share something because I'm sitting here in my bedroom after a long day at work with a candle on. Most of the lights are off except for a small light right next to my bed that allows me to read at night with or not a lot of distractions. So, I started reading the book that I had mentioned on I can't remember if it was the first or second or third episode. It must have been the second or first. Anyways, I said that I was gonna talk or read the book No Excuses by Brian Tracy, and I've been reading. I've been keeping up with that book. I started reading only like one or two pages at first because I was like, I don't want to get discouraged because I always do this to myself where I start reading something and after a week I get bored and tired and I decide I don't want to go through with it. But this time, like I said, I want to make sure things are different and I want to keep myself accountable. So I figure I would share something that I saw on here actually. One of the topics, of course, I can read the whole book on on here on audio and share everything that I'm reading, but one of the topics that this book mentions is pay the price. And when I saw that, it caught my attention a lot. It caught my attention a lot because of what it says. It says pay the price, and I've always heard about you got to pay the price, or you got to, yeah, basically you got to pay your dues. And I use that a lot actually because I've heard it from other people. You got to pay your dues, meaning that you got to work hard in order to achieve those goals that you want to achieve. And that's always stuck in my head. And when I'm working extra hard or I'm working my two to three jobs sometimes I over exaggerate, but at least two jobs, um, I remember, hey, I'm paying the price. I'm paying my dues right now. So it's gonna be okay. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but you know what? It's gonna be fine. This is part of it. I am paying my dues. So it says, how can you tell when you have paid the full price of success? It's simple. Look around you, there it is. You can always tell how much of the price of success you have paid by looking at your current situation or lifestyle. And success for me, as of now, at this point of my life, doesn't mean that I have achieved every single goal that I've had in mind because obviously I have not achieved every single goal. Otherwise, I would be extremely successful in owning tons of other properties and just a lot. I don't know. My goals are huge, which I will get there. But anyway, success to me is achieving at least one thing. So if I have one goal and I achieve that, to me that's success. At least to that point. Of course, eventually you keep achieving other goals, and then there's more success that comes along with it, and it's a great feeling. But yeah, so um, I'll share a story because where when it said pay the price, it brought me back to when I was 21. So when I was 21, I decided I wanted to move out of my parents' house. I decided, you know what, I'm 21. I want to be independent. I want to move out and live on my own. Of course, at that time, I was only a server dash bartender or slash bartender, um, and I was making okay money, not great, not bad. I was making okay money, but I was wasting most of my money going out with friends, either to the clubs or just having dinner, not traveling as much actually. So I wasn't really spending wisely. It was mainly on food or alcohol, which it wasn't the best. Anyways, yeah, I was 21. I decided I want to move out of my parents' house, and one of my um, one of my siblings said, "You know what? If you want to move out, it's totally valid. But you want to move out to rent an apartment, you want to move out to rent in someone else's property, why don't you buy a property?" And I thought to myself, no, that's impossible, bro. I'm only 21. I'm not making enough money. But after he said that, it kind of got stuck in my head, and I said, you know what? let me do my own research. Let's see if this is possible. I started meeting up with realtors. They connected me to other people, and eventually they approved me for a loan, which it wasn't anything huge. I think at that time, how much was I approved for? I think I was approved for like $115,000 from what I was making. That's what I got approved for, $115,000. And I lived in Fairfield at the time, doing my research and all, looking for homes and everything. I couldn't find anything around that price range. So I talked to my realtor. We decided that I was going to go and look for homes in Sacramento, because homes in Sacramento in 2016, which is when I was 21, were cheaper. They were cheaper. It was more affordable for what I could buy at the time. So I decided, you know what? Let's go to Sacramento. Let's start looking at homes. I did my fair look around of homes. I had the realtor going to different places with me so we can look at different homes and condos. And eventually, I found a condominium in Citrus Heights. Shout out to Citrus Heights. Love that city. Had a great experience there. So found a condominium. Decided to move out there. Decided to make an offer for the condo, and I got my offer accepted. I moved in on, if I'm not mistaken, if I can remember correctly, I moved in on the 19th of June of 2016, because I got the keys on June 3rd. And when I got the keys, I took both my dad and my mom to my condo, so we can, I mean, so they could see where I was gonna stay, because they were obviously afraid for me to move out. But I was like, no, I'm gonna be okay. Anyway, so I moved in into that condo, and I loved it. It was a great experience. My mortgage at that time, because I think the condo turned out to be, how much was full cost? If I think it was 110,000 dollars. That's how much the condo was. So obviously I had to make my down payment. I went through the process, got the condo, moved in, lived there for 6 to 7 years. I think it was from 2016 to 2021 or 2022. So that it was like 5 to 6 years that I lived out there, and yeah, it was a great experience. But the thing that makes this topic reminded me of, it was that at that time, even though my mortgage was only around $1,200 plus bills, it was becoming really hard for me to make the mortgage. Some months, like 1 month I was okay, other months I would be struggling. So I had a job as a server bartender, because I transferred out there to Citrus Heights, and then I needed a second job, so I started working for an insurance company. And then when I was still not making enough money, I would try to do DoorDash. I would try to do what was it, DoorDash, and I would try to do Uber, picking up those drunk people from the club at 12, 1 in the morning. It was crazy because I was one of those at 1.2. But anyways, so it was a lot of working extra hours and being tired, and sometimes saying like, what am I doing here? Why can't I just go back to my parents' house and live there? Why can't I just be there, so that way I don't have to pay so much, so I can expand my money and do whatever I want to do? Because think about it, at this point of my life, I'm 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Those are some of the best years where you can be out clubbing with friends, having fun. And that's when you want to be out clubbing, having fun. And I had a great share of that. But there was a lot of days where I was struggling, where I wouldn't mention it to people. I would just pay my dues, meaning I would work my 2 to 3 jobs, work extra hours late in the afternoons. Then I decided, hey, I want better than I want something better for my life. I don't want to just be working as a server bartender, which is a great job, but you never know when you're gonna make good money and not make enough money. So it's a gamble. Basically, that's what it is, a gamble. So I decided I wanted a different career, and that's when I got into the electrical trade, which has been great to me so far. Maybe I'll talk about that another time. But yes, paying my dues. paying my dues. That's what I did. So I paid the price. I was working extra. I paid the price, and I managed to sorry, I managed to live in that condo for a long time. Eventually, I can't remember the year, I managed to refinance and pay a debt of, how much was it? Like 30 to 40,000. I paid like 30 to 40,000 when I refinanced my condo. I paid off my car and some credit cards because I would match up my credit cards. I paid those bills completely, and I was very happy and comfortable for a long time. And then eventually, I decided to sell the condo because I started working back in Fairfield with my electrical career. I came back to Fairfield and started doing that again. And when I moved back to Fairfield, I decided, hey, traffic is crazy, so I'm gonna sell my condo and move out here. And I sold my condo for double the price of what I had gotten it. So I got it for 110,000, and I sold it for. I'll share these numbers because I don't care. I don't mind. It's just my experience and my story. I sold my condo for $264,000. $264,000. I'm pretty sure that was the number, but at least 260 to 264,000. It's been like 2 to 3 years now, or 4 years. I see, my memory is crazy. Anyways, I sold it for $264,000, so double the price. Of course, there was money that I still had to go towards paying the mortgage, and then whatever was remaining was mine. And then that's how I managed to buy my house that I currently have now. But it was because those times that I was struggling, those times that I was going through it, that I wanted to give up, I pushed myself. I've always been very responsible. Um, if I have bills, I always prioritize my bills and then my fun afterwards. If I have bills and I don't have enough money, I'm gonna pay those bills and not go and eat at some crazy fancy restaurant just because all my friends want to go there. I've been responsible that way. So yeah, that was my lesson, and reading that in the book just completely reminded me of that. I'm here kind of like meditating while reading the book, and it reminded me of that, and I'm glad I did what I did. I'm glad I stayed strong and didn't break. Um, because if I didn't do that at that time, if I didn't work extra hard and pay my dues, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. Which, again, I don't give myself the most credit, but you know, I've done okay so far, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of that. I don't say that to myself as often, but I am proud of what I've done so far, and it's been great. And it's because I was okay with paying the dues. So now I have more ideas that I want to work on, um, to better my lifestyle, and I can talk about those later. But I know I will have to pay my dues for these ideas. I know I will have to pay my dues, and I know I will have to work extra hard for the next couple years if that's what it will take. And I'm okay with that because I've done it before and I can do it again. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that. It's so far it's a great book. Thanks to my brother for recommending this book. It's really good so far. It's actually making me think a lot, and yeah, I wanted to share that with you because paying your dues takes you to a great place of success. Again, even if it's just success on one thing, it's a great feeling. And it's definitely worth it, and it can take you to the next step and next level. Um, and I want to share one last thing from this from this book because I thought this was pretty cool too. But anyways, it says motivational speaker Sig Sagler says the elevator to success is out of order, but the stairs are always open. And if you give that a thought, it will make a lot of sense. It will make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm pretty mesmerized by this. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. We'll talk next time. Deuces.